Kyle has somehow regressed even further. I didn't think that was possible after the last couple of seasons, especially last year. I thought I had reached my limit of like, oh, I'm sick of her shit. This episode topped it. This was crazy to see the bubble that she lives in, like this own little world, her own little planet. But everybody else, for the most part, I'm thoroughly
and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows. Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Shooter Magooter. What's up, dude?
I especially love having conversations with you about the new intro, and you started off with the old intro.
Oh shit! I forgot we're supposed to do like the preamble talk first, and then
this is preamble now. Yeah, no, leave all of this in. This is perfect. This is what I want everybody to know the show is about. It's us forgetting about rebranding and talking about Beverly Hills at some point, but we're probably just going to be stupid for a little while, and you're just going to have to live with it because you choose to listen to us.
Yep. But for those of you that aren't watching this live, this is one of our live stream episodes. So we have our members in here so they can comment along as we go and ask questions at the end. So if you would like to join our next live stream, make sure you sign up for Brav Bros members, which will change, but it is still currently Brav Bros members. But the link is in our bio, or you can go to the link at the bottom of this episode description. Click that. It's $5 for the month, $50 for the year. That gets you into these live streams. We will get back to our news episodes soon. It's been kind of wild around here with all the content we're pumping out, but we're glad we can do this for our members so that we get to talk to you guys, and we will get our community Zoom for the month of January lined up for next week at some point. So we'll get everything back on track after the holidays. You guys know how it goes. All right, the holidays throw a big wrench into everything, and then Bravo decided to drop 18 shows at once. So we got a lot going on. I'm not complaining, just say there's a lot going on. But we're not here to talk about our lack of sleep. We're here to talk about Beverly Hills.
Look, it's not my favorite season, but when I think about last season and how maddening it was with Kyle in particular, and people not really asking any questions, not taking any shots at Kyle while she's going through everything, just treading carefully, not giving the viewers what they want. That's the type of shit that we don't want to see, especially for as long of a season as Beverly Hills usually is. This season's a lot better. And there's one thing in particular that I do want to say, and it has to do with Bose, that I'm not actually going to say. I think the phrase of newbie of the year. Hold on. Just let me talk.
Okay.
The phrase of newbie of the year is cursed. It's cursed. I don't want to call her that. I'm going to say she is such a stark difference from the last two newbies that we've had on Beverly Hills. And it is pleasant to watch her because you can see how she operates. She is so intuitive. She's instinctive when she's talking to these women. She's not really doing a whole lot in terms of, backlash or anything like that. She's still just compiling information, but she's standing her ground. And I love to see that because we get to know her as a person. We understand how she operates, and we're seeing her talk to everybody else. And it seems like she's got people coming to her, as we see in this episode. Obviously, she just goes through surgery, but she has people coming to her. That's incredible for a newbie. So not calling her newbie of the year, because the last 3 times that we've done that, things go wrong. Let's just be honest.
Maybe it's our fault.
It could be our fault. So I'm just going to leave it at that. That's where I am.
Yeah, she's doing a really good job, and the way that she plays the game is commendable because she never puts herself in a bad spot. She sets people up and then lets them talk. Like that's her thing. And she said in episode 1, I'm a really good listener. So this Dorit friendship makes sense. It also makes sense for just listening. And that's what's funny about this group is if you just sit there and don't say anything, they will bury themselves as we see. And I have a whole theory with the Bose stuff, and I'll get into that when we get into this episode. But I agree with everything you said, including the jinx that we won't, from here on out, we won't do that. But I agree with you. We're 0 for when the season goes on, which is unfortunate. But
and we typically do it around now. It's usually like the 6th or 7th episode. We're like, wow, this is great. Is there a potential newbie of the year in the making? And then we proclaim them as newbie of the year. And then So let's not do that this time. Let's not do it.
That's what it's called now. It's called pulling a Bronwyn because she was such a front runner, and what a fall from grace. But let's get into this episode, and we pick up at the Viper room, and my dumbass wrote Venom room in my notebook. But I'm also
Or
using Poppy's notebook
Venom
because
Room
I'm out of
sounds kind of
pages.
sick.
So this is Poppy's
Aw.
notebook. It's her capybara notebook. She loves capybaras. So I'm using that because I lost ran out of pages in my notebook. But yes, the Venom Room sounds dope. I would go to that place when I was 20 something. I wouldn't go now. It's probably too loud. But we're at the end of the conversation. Shit escalated, obviously. And there's a lot of stuff being thrown back and forth between Kyle and Dorit. Now, you could say that Kyle escalated it when she raised her voice, the veins started popping. I don't think the volume matters so much with how mad they're getting at each other. I think that what you're seeing, and I think Sutton calls it out later perfectly, Kyle doesn't like when people stand up to her. I don't think she knows how to function when people stand up to her. Her first jump is just to lash out and get loud. Dorit's whole thing is she's just done putting up with Kyle's shit. And I think that anybody that's watched the show for a while can understand where Kyle's coming from, or sorry, where Dorit is coming from. But what drives me nuts, because this whole thing has to do with the PK texting debacle. What drives me nuts is now she's saying things like, and we talked about this last week, where she's like, if you don't want me to do that, I won't do it anymore. It's like, that's not the same thing as understanding why it's a problem. And that's my problem.
Yeah, when every other woman at the table is sitting there saying, I would have a serious problem if you were doing that with my ex-husband, you would think that Kyle might look inward and say, wow, what would I do if somebody was texting Mauricio? If Dorit was doing this, she would lose her shit. She wouldn't talk to Dorit, but she would be spewing, let's say, venom. She'd be spewing venom everywhere to any other person that she's talking to. And that's just how Kyle handles business. But now that Kyle's involved, it's like, whoa, 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 I'll stop. I don't know why you're getting so mad at me. I love that Dorit this year. We've seen her do it time and time again. She's completely undefeated in fights with Kyle so far.
I know.
And sometimes she provokes them, sometimes she doesn't. It's been warranted every single time. So whether you agree with Dorit or not, you can watch that and say, holy shit, she is wiping the floor with Kyle. Kyle has no comeback at all. She's got no leg to stand on. Everybody's just sitting around the table. It's like, what is going on? This is like a bizarro world where Dorit's standing up for herself, going at Kyle. Kyle's speechless, and she's got her vein popping out. And as soon as the vein pops out and Kyle tries to escalate it a little bit further, you point out the vein, that goes back seasons. And now all of a sudden, Kyle is self-conscious about that. She's thinking about it. We see it in the next scene. She's talking about it. It's all over the place. She has lost so many times. And this is the comeuppance that we wanted for years now. We wanted some accountability from Kyle. Did not expect in a million years that it would come at the hands of Dorit, but I'm here for it.
I didn't either, especially from a Dorit that's so well spoken and pointed. I've said that every single week, I think, because I'm expecting her to get derailed during these rants, and she doesn't. And she even says things like the rules are changed now, like everything's different, and it is. And that's I'm going to save a lot of it for later. I don't want to jump too far ahead. I will say this. I didn't like what she said, but I'm glad Garcelle's getting in the mix. And she, out of left field, is like, I thought you were going to talk about PK. By the way, how are you doing? And I was like, why do you care now? Like, you haven't cared about Dorit.
I saw
ever.
some people were pointing out that last week Garcelle had brought up to Dorit how everything was going, or just said something casual about PK, and Dorit actually answered her. And they're like, what's the problem this week? It's like, well, she's fucking activated for one. She was just screaming at Kyle and raising her voice. And now she's in the thick of it. And now she has somebody who has seen her as an enemy. Garcelle has seen Dorit as an enemy, does not like Dorit. So it's not coming from a place of actual concern or trying to understand. It's just getting into the mix, which, look, we said it before. Garcelle doesn't get in the mix enough, so I'm not going to condemn her for that.
Absolutely
But you
not.
can't not expect some sort of backlash to an activated woman who is going to bat right now. You're going to jump in and be like, by the way, how's everything going? How the fuck do you think it's going? Do you not see me screaming at somebody who used to be my best friend for texting my ex-husband or my separated husband or whatever you want to call him? You're going to ask me now how things are going? Yeah. What is that timing?
Yeah, not awesome. Let me tell you,
not great.
They're not great. They've been better, if you can't tell right now by my demeanor. But Dorit leaves, and ladies are talking, and Bose chimes in and says, maybe she needed to get all of this stuff out. Makes sense to me. That seems to track. Yeah, super fair. But the crazy thing is Sutton jumps in, and this was what the weirdest thing to me is the back and forth that Sutton does throughout this episode, that Garcelle does throughout this episode as well.
Yeah.
In this moment, it's like, Jesus, Dorit, settle the fuck down. Like, Sutton's like, Kyle's been texting PK for years. Like, Kyle doubles down and goes, you just don't
Yeah.
know the relationship. Like, Bose is just getting the information and giving you an unbiased approach as to
Mhm.
what this sounds like. Again, pretty much everyone at the table has echoed, if you were texting my husband while I was doing all of this, I would have a problem with it. So Bose is just stating the obvious, but Kyle's defense is, we did this for 8 years. I would text BK memes. It's like, that's fine when you guys are all cool. At that moment, like when you guys started this weird texting thing, you and Mo were still together. Dorit and PK were still together. You guys double dated. You guys were all friends. Yeah, okay, fine. You two text memes and shit. Great, whatever. Could care less.
Sure.
Once the separations occur, separations plural, that's when the game changes. That's when everything changes, because now Kyle is separated, texting Dorit's separated husband. That's a pretty big problem. That seems pretty inappropriate to me, but she's dying on this hill of, all we're doing is sending memes. It's just memes. It's not that big of a deal. And that's really important to act. But Kyle's just acting like Dorit is insane and saying that the context of the texts aren't damning. So what does it matter? In my head, it doesn't matter what the texts say. The content of these texts is irrelevant, because you texting
For now.
for now, totally. I didn't until it gets much, much worse. But it just baffles me that as she keeps talking about this whole thing, I'm like, at no point you don't see why this is problematic. Flip the script. And everyone says that later. You would be livid if Dorit was texting Mo. Livid. Like it would be World War III.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane to me. But I will say, going back to Sutton, the thing with Sutton is, yes, I don't understand the flip flopping, and Garcelle does it too, but to a much less degree. When Sutton does it, she can clap back, and when she claps back and it's really funny and it hits and it's something that we haven't seen, it makes up for all of the missteps that she has every
That's fair.
single time. Because even in this conversation, like, yes, she has it out for Dorit. She's whatever, she's offended or just spurned away or whatever it might be from Dorit, because Dorit doesn't want her to be like a shoulder to lean on, and she's, she immediately lashes out at her in the sprinter van on the first trip. So there's a lot of bad blood there right now. So you can kind of write that one off. But sitting there and saying it's not like you're sending them nudes is fucking hilarious, because
Mhm.
it's so painfully awkward to somebody like Kyle, who just has never had to put up with this shit. Whether it's the producing, whether it's the editing, whether it's Kyle just physically removing herself from conversations and just going nonverbal, whatever it might be, all of those things that she's done over the years to somehow evade any sort of criticism. Now she actually is facing the music. She's still stuck there while Dorit has stormed out. And Sutton gets to have that little backlash in there. Like, huh, it's not like you're sending them nudes, right? Right?
Right? Right.
Right? Wouldn't
You're
that
not
be
doing
weird?
that.
Wouldn't
That'd-
that be weird? How about that? All right. Yeah. Cool. So Sutton makes up for it almost immediately. So if this is what we're going to get, and we're going to get great drama between Kyle and Dorit's going to be able to stand her ground like this. And we've got Bose over here just clocking everybody at the table, understanding where they all come from. And we're going to get little quips from Sutton. I'm okay. This is like a perfect dynamic right now.
I agree. I think that while some of the things being said are confounding, if you will, the fact that we get this level of drama, I'm down for it. I'm down for these kinds of stupid fights. I'm down for people jumping in. I'm down for the side comments. I'm down for all of it. It's just confusing because it doesn't track throughout the entire episode.
Yep.
But we move forward and we get to Sutton's house. Everyone's coming over for country club day. They're doing little tennis. And Sutton says, at this country club, you can curse and you can drink. That's every country club on the planet, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but so it's just like every other country club. But Kyle and Sutton are chit-chatting before Garcelle arrives, and Kyle's still upset about the whole thing that happened. Still can't see her side of it at all. She is 100% the victim in this whole thing. That's when Sutton points out, Kyle, you don't like when people stand up to you. That's what this is all about. And that's coming from personal experience. Because remember when Sutton did this last season, that's when we got the name 'em scene. And again, that was a little wacky during that whole thing. But that was Sutton standing her ground to Kyle. Kyle does not know what to do when she's confronted, because she's not used to being confronted until these last 2 years, really. This is much more of a confrontation than I think we've seen with her, with somebody in the group, because it's carrying on. It's somebody that she's known for so long. But it's a great point. Like, that's the root of this whole thing. I don't think she's capable of looking inward during all of this because she's so taken aback and not knowing how to play defense. So she's just going to go with, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. This isn't my problem. This is your problem. That's the vibe I get, at least.
Yeah, that's definitely the vibe that I get. And I also didn't care for Kyle walking in. Pretty much her first comment was, is there alcohol in this for the iced tea? It's like, fuck off. Like, you're still going to try to push the whole Sutton is drinking constantly thing. That's how I took it. And that's any time that Kyle makes any sort of alcoholic comment to Sutton, I'm like, stop.
Well,
Just
she makes
enough.
a lot of offhanded comments to her that just like belittle her. And like, she does that to a lot of people that she doesn't take seriously. You can tell who Kyle takes seriously because of the way that she talks. It's the offhanded little, like, it's a jab, but we're friends, so it's funny, haha. But if she did that to you, it would be a big problem. I don't know. The hypocrisy is starting to really get on my nerves. But Garcelle arrives. She's nursing a shoulder injury, so she can't play tennis. I don't believe that. She
No, not
proves
at
that
all.
later.
She wanted
But
to
she
be
just
there
wants
to have a
just
drink and look good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't blame her.
yeah, not at all. But after tennis, they sit down to a little bit of lunch, and Kyle had called Mo from the day before, and Mo let her know, PK had a really hard time last night. And she's like, well, I can't be friends with him. I'm not allowed to be friends with him. And Mo's like, oh, that's so stupid. It's like, sure, if that's how you framed it, if that's what you said, that would sound pretty dumb. But that's not what's going on. You're not giving the full context here at all. But Garcelle and Sutton both say to her, like, we kind of understand. Like, this is a problem. This is a different situation than what you guys previously had. So the texting does seem problematic to us. I think the general sentiment from everybody watching on the show is, if this was my spouse, I would have an issue, but Kyle can't hear this thing at all. And her biggest hangup is the implication that there's something nefarious going on, something dirty, like that they're banging pretty much is what they're sending nudes or getting sexual, something like that. So
I guess. Yeah, but
nobody's thinking that, I don't think. I don't think anyone
no,
thinks that
not
PK and
now.
Kyle are doing anything.
Nobody's going to think that until you give them a reason to think it, because you keep talking yourself into a corner. And this is just goes to show you where Kyle is. And again, we've seen her do so many evasive maneuvers to get out of things. Now all of a sudden she's groveling, she's politicking, showing up places. Like, we would see her in this same scene, but it would be Sutton and Garcelle going to her house. Now she's going over to Sutton's. Now she's going over, we see it later with Bose. She's doing all of these things that are way outside of her comfort zone to try to get people on her side, which is bizarre. And it almost points to, you're not going over to Erica's. You're not just sitting down with Erica as you used to in the past. You have no friends left on this cast. Even when you're going over to Garcelle and Sutton, these are two people that will immediately look at you and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then have a full conversation about you as soon as you leave.
Well, because
So
Sutton
what are
and
you
Garcelle are
doing?
tight. They're actually friends. They
Yes.
actually talk.
So the fact that Kyle shows up to country club day, not dressed in country club gear because she, doesn't wear it. She's there for a reason. She's only there so that she can try to continue to gauge some sort of ideas as to how she can get out of it, or how she can just spin it and put it back on Dorit. And you can't. You just can't. You need to just apologize for it, say you're sorry, and move on. That's all you have to do. You're going to end up digging yourself a bigger hole, as we see.
Well, she is the queen of digging big holes. Like,
Yeah.
that's what she does. She just can't take the accountability. But out of left field, because again, Kyle's the one that brings up infidelity. Sutton's like, well, you had that. And Kyle, you could tell immediately this was a conversation that they had. Sutton knows that Mo stepped out.
Yep.
And Kyle's face was 100%. What are you talking about? With the big eyes, like, dude, shut the fuck up. You're about to blow my cover. And Garcelle's like, oh, with like it goes to that cutscene of where
social
Kyle had an
media,
issue,
like
yeah, with
Instagram and
Instagram,
whatever
like,
the fuck it was. That was
that kinda
Kyle
shit.
again. That wasn't even Garcelle that tried to save her. Garcelle sat there and let it happen.
Oh, I thought Garcelle pointed that part out. And they
No,
just showed-
Kyle's
they
like,
just
are
showed
you?
the
Yeah, they
clip.
just showed it randomly, and then Kyle was like, "You talking about the social media post?" It's like, okay, yeah, sure. If that's what you want to talk about, I'm just trying to pull some sort of thread out to see what you're trying to tell us, because I'm calling out infidelities, and we saw it at the reunion last year where Kyle had a full-on breakdown, crying about it, talking about and alluding to stories, rumors, potential infidelities. So
It's like an
it's all fair
unforgivable
game.
thing. Yeah.
And this is the problem with Kyle too. This is fair game for any housewife in any franchise, but it has never been fair game for Kyle. Now you're going through a separation and you're texting your ex best friend's ex husband. Bizarre. So you're opening yourself up to all of this. You have to face this music, and people are getting stronger too. And I love to see it because now we've got Sutton just going full on unhinged, just making all these comments, making her very awkward. And she is opening herself up to so much more fire, and she's going to have to face it, or she's just going to have to apologize. It's amazing to me that she just hasn't apologized to try to put out the fire.
It would go away. It would go.
Yep.
Dorit would be so thrilled to have Kyle back as a friend. I think that if they were able to sit down and have a conversation and just hash it out, and Kyle actually listened to Dorit and let her be long-winded and let her get everything out, and then they apologized, I think they would hug, and the next day they'd be back to normal. I don't think it would be that deep, but I don't think that Kyle's capable of that. I truly don't. The Kyle that we've watched for season after season, she's not going to do that. So I don't think that this is going to be solved anytime soon. But Kyle's response to the infidelity thing is, that's different.
Yep.
What's different?
Sure.
What happened? Like, this was such a damning scene. She's like, well, now I understand. It's like, what? I didn't know what was happening. But the underlying question I think that we all have, and it's not really much of a question. I don't need proof to know that they talk about more than just sending memes. I don't think that anybody thinks they're just sending memes. I think that that was just a convenient thing to say. But they ask her, like, is it just memes? And she's like, yeah, it's just memes. No, it's not. Like, there's no fucking way that you guys are just sending like reels back and forth to each other, giggling and sending laughing face emojis. But what drives me nuts, and she's done it time and time again when it comes to Dorit and this whole thing, is she puts the onus on her. If I don't know who this person is, I can't be friends with that. You said the same thing about Sutton when she lost her shit.
Yep.
There is a common denominator here. You are pushing people close to you to a point that they're lashing out and coming after you. That is not who they are. That's something inside of them that they have pent up for a while, and finally it came out because of you. But you don't get to say that because you don't recognize who they are because you pushed them to that point, that you can't be friends with that. It's like, no, you're the reason that they're like that. You need to hear them out so you can make adjustments to yourself to stop doing this so that people stop getting pissed off at you. It doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Are you explaining what self-awareness is? Because Kyle doesn't know what that is.
Yeah, that's my bad.
Yeah, no, that's on you. That's okay. But this is now probably like the fourth season. Is this the fourth Beverly Hills season that we've covered? Third, maybe? I think it's
third,
the fourth.
I think. Is it the
third?
fourth?
Okay.
We started
Whatever
with Beverly Hills, so
we're still having the same
Don't make me do
conversation
that.
about Kyle that we've had since we started this show.
Yep.
And nothing has changed. There's no self-awareness there. There's no accountability. It's just who it is. And we thought that maybe she would change a little, having an empty nest. Your husband's living in a bachelor fuck pad over there with PK, probably with leather couches.
PK's definitely staying there.
Yeah, PK definitely lives there. That's what's going on. You should be looking for friends. You should be looking to open up and talk about it more. You were given a storyline, granted, it's through a very traumatic experience within your life, but you're given a storyline to finally do something on this show and not just be Kyle Richards and just shut everything down. You could do something, and you're now going completely off the rails and being a completely different person, and it is bizarre to watch. It's just that's all it is.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it's a different person. It's just you're seeing 2 years in a row it's been like this, and it's hard to watch. I don't understand what she's doing, what her approach is, what she's bringing to the show even anymore. If it's just deny, and get pissed off at people that are trying to check you, and no self-awareness, no accountability, no ability to, like, that's something I think that everybody likes in these shows, is to watch growth. Like, we like to watch growth. You see some fucked up stuff. Look at Erica Jane. She went through the Tom Girardi stuff, and now she's in her come up era, redesigning her house via Martin Lawrence. Everybody wants me to say Martin Lawrence Ballard. I'm not going to do it.
You could argue she's not doing anything either, but yeah.
No, I agree. I'm just saying, like, you see
too much of a comeback.
Yeah, where we could use a little bit more from her. Absolutely. I agree with that. But my point is, it's like journeys to make different choices and different things in your life, but we've seen the same shit over and over again. I guess the hardest part for me is people are trying to push her into making a change, into acknowledging something, and it's so in her face, and she still can't just say, you know what, you're right, I'm sorry. Because the whole thing, even if you guys are texting and you tell her, hey, just to let you know, like, we're still sending memes, is that cool with you? This is a very different story, but you didn't do that, which makes this 10 times worse because it's secret and it's slimy. But let's keep going.
The chat is getting contentious, and I love it.
Oh no, are people fighting with each other?
It's Ryan.
Oh, there we go.
He said he thinks that it must be just go after Kyle Day. It's like she's basically Tammy Sue. So
Oh my
yeah,
God.
he
No, well,
opened
if
himself
if
up to it.
if Tamra and Kyle would stop being assholes, then no, we would stop going after them. Like we don't do this for our health, Ryan. We
Come
call it like we
on,
see it,
Ryan.
pal. Come on, dude. But we get to Dorit and Erica Jane, and they are going furniture shopping. As we know, we're getting a little revamp in the Jane household, and we get Martin Lawrence coming in. And again, this has been her thing. It's this new Erica. She's coming into her new peaceful era, whatever it is. Great, good for you in life. That's awesome. I just need some more. I like when Erica gets involved because she says funny shit, and we don't have that right now. She's playing the
at
mediator
least
with stuff, which is nice.
I wouldn't even say that she's a mediator because I would say she's definitely shading towards Dorit. And that's why we're getting this. So at least we do get the one-off scenes where Dorit is just having a one-on-one with somebody like Erica, who's gone through it, who knows Kyle very well. She's being pretty careful when it comes to explaining, how she feels about Kyle, but it's getting more out of Dorit. And that is, we saw that in the Viper room where she's sitting there, and even Bo said, like, maybe she just needed to get everything out. We're still seeing a lot of scenes. This is Dorit. She's very long-winded. We said that this could be an entire season of Dorit just getting everything off of her chest. And I'm here for it because it's pointed and it's right. And it makes a lot of sense to us. If it starts to spiral out of control, we're going to need people like Erica Jane to kind of rein her back in. So I guess she is serving a purpose. It's just when it comes down to what Erica's storyline is, it's like, okay, we've watched you rebuild your life for years now. You're getting back, you had the Vegas residency last year. Now you're doing furniture shopping, and that's your storyline this year. It's like we
Right.
need
When you
more
break it down
from
that way, we're talking about furniture for 2 weeks now. This furniture, which again, I know what it represents, and yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's great. I'm not taking away from the sentiment of the furniture,
but it
yeah,
takes away from the entertainment value.
Yeah, I agree with that. But we do a little Dorit check-in, and Bose, Dorit, and Erica Jane had taken a little stroll through the hills of LA, and the friendship between Dorit and Bose gets called into question again because Erica lets them know that people are asking about you guys being friends. I don't know why it's a problem. I said that from day one when Garcelle was pissed off at the fact that Dorit was having a solo conversation with Bose at the end of the table. It's like they're sitting across from each other or next to each other. That's what you do. You don't yell down the table. You talk to the people close to you. There just seems to be such a vendetta against Dorit because she's long-winded and slightly annoying that like the rest of the group can't fathom that anybody would be friends with her. I'm not entirely sure.
It's almost like when she became friends with Dorit, she got typecasted by the rest of the cast as, oh, you're a lot like Dorit. Maybe we don't have anything in common. And then there's a little bit of jealousy where it's like, well, when am I going to get my one-on-one time with Bose? It's like Dorit went and just started talking to her. And yeah, she did confess her entire life story to her and gave way too many details, but Bose was there for it. You can't help that. There's nothing you can do about that. But you could go over and just start talking to Bose. She's a very interesting woman. She has a lot to present. You could just sit there and just chat with her for a long time. It is very funny to me that now everybody's like, oh, why are they friends? I don't get it. I didn't get a chance. It's like, well, she's a new cast member. Like, yeah, I mean, maybe you're used to these cast members coming out and trying way too hard and talking about esophaguses. Esophagi? Esophaguses.
Esophagi.
Esophagi, yeah. Whatever you might be used to, that's not what Bose is. She's a real person that you can go have a conversation with, and you'll probably have a lot in common with her. As we find out later, she's got a million best friends. You could be one of them. It's not just Dorit. She's not claiming her territory. Funny. Yeah, so I don't really know what it is, but I don't get the jealousy and the judgment because now all of a sudden Dorit and Bose are friends. It's like they've talked a lot, and Dorit talks a lot, and she also lost her best friend, and she doesn't like Sutton, and Garcelle hates her. So what do you want her to do?
Yeah, she's going to the two people that like her, Erica and Bose, because they will talk to her. And I think the thing that makes me the saddest when you really break it down, Dorit's going through a lot of shit, right?
Yeah.
Like in her life, the housewives aside, her issues with the group aside, her own personal life, she was held up at gunpoint, robbed, separated. Her husband's an asshole who literally gets in a fight and leaves the country for weeks at a time, leaving her and her 2 young children with her. That's a lot of shit. And the person that she thought she was closest with in Kyle is now claiming they were never even real friends. That's pretty heavy to try to deal with on your own. So she found something in Bose and Erica. Well, they'll sit and talk to her. And that's all people need when they're going through. You need an ear, somebody to talk to that's going to sympathize and empathize. That's all it is. And everyone's been out of shape about that. And I guess I don't know if it's jealousy or they're just not used to Dorit being the one to make friends with the newcomers. I don't know. But it seems like such a non-issue. And Bose is the one that says it's just petty. That everyone calling it out, like, why are you friends with Dorit? It's just petty. People are allowed to form their own opinions about people. You have friends that I don't like. I'm sure I have friends that you don't like. That's okay. You don't have to cross. It just drives me nuts that this is a storyline.
Don't cross the streams, bro.
Don't cross streams, bro. Everybody knows the rules, but
except for the urinals.
Yeah, that's a different story. Sword fights are different. But the big question is, what do you need from Kyle to move on? And I'm glad that somebody pointed it out and Dorit points it out. It's like the whole thing just feels secretive. I think that's the biggest problem with this text thing. It just feels sneaky. And that's where the issues arise. I don't believe for a second that Dorit is questioning whether or not Kyle and PK are getting a little frisky. I don't think anybody's thinking that. I think
so, no.
You know what I mean? Nobody's thinking that.
Nobody wants to think that. Nobody wants to imagine that.
No, I really don't. Stop saying that, or I'm going to. I don't want to. But that's not the problem. It's the principle of the whole thing. And to move forward, pretty much, she needs confirmation of what these texts are. Fair. That's the least you could do. Okay, fine. You have nothing to hide. You're texting her husband. What are you saying? It's memes? Great. Show me. How simple is that? If you're not being weird, if you're actually telling the truth that there's just memes and smiley faces back and forth, that's an easy thing to prove. But she points it out as well. If the tables were turned, this would be a disaster of epic proportions. Kyle would be talking to everybody on the side, pointing them at Dorit, telling them how slimy she is for texting her husband when they're separated. She doesn't even text me anymore. She just texts my husband. Like, do you realize that? You're texting her husband while they're separated as her friend on the sly. How do you not recognize that that's a fucking issue? Like, it hurts my brain.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Yeah.
But let's keep trucking. We get to Bose and Keely, and Bose is headed in for fibroid surgery. She's got fibroids on her uterus, and she needs to get them removed. And she's talking more about Keely and their relationship. They would like to have a kid. And she's 47, I believe she said, and Keely's 48. So if it's going to happen, it needs to happen sooner than later. So she's going to get the fibroids removed in hopes that they'll be able to conceive. And she's also nervous that if she's incapable, what that would mean for her relationship with Keely. So some pretty heavy shit. And, you know, what I appreciate with Bose, obviously in the scenes with other housewives, she's doing a great job. But she's been very open throughout this whole process. She's shared with us, actually. We get to know her. And I think that's something that we've missed from some newcomers, especially on this show. Like when Anne-Marie came on, you know, she who must not be named, we didn't get a whole lot of that. And a lot of that was because Marcellus Wiley was accused of something really bad. So we weren't really able to dig deeper into her life. But
yeah, but that was also like, we knew that was just going to be like some sort of Bravo industry plant where she was just there to give Kyle some sort of support. And she did not even do that. She just didn't do anything. And that's really what it was. So I'm not even going to put her. That's why I don't want to compare her, because Bose is just head and shoulders over everybody else. She's just so good at this for not knowing the game, not understanding how these shows work, just coming right in, being herself. It's incredible because she's bringing it in every scene. And this was probably her best episode because she was in so much of it. She was like a focal point. And this is a Dorit and Kyle issue. And we're coming away with the most screen time from Bose, who went into surgery in this episode. Like, that shows you how important she is and how integral she is to this so far in the season. It's incredible that she's been able to do it.
No, she's done a great job. She really has. We can't say enough about it. But we get to the post-surgery, and Kyle comes over to chat with her. And the funniest part about this, about Sutton's interaction with her, about Garcelle's interaction later, is everybody's so concerned that other people are painting them in a bad light. I need to go talk to Bose one-on-one so she gets the right idea about me. Nobody's doing anything to make her form her opinion about you except for your own individual selves. Okay? Sutton, love you, but you're the reason that she has an opinion about you.
Yeah.
Because you acted a certain way. And the first time you saw she watched you weaponize Dorit's pain. Then the first thing you did after that, the first time you saw Bose, was say, don't weaponize me. That's a weird thing to say. That was a weird interaction that you two had. And Bose does what she does, and she asks some questions and just lets Sutton talk. Then she goes to the confessional and says, I don't know if I trust this woman. I don't know if I like her. She seems like she might be kind of nuts.
Yeah.
That was Sutton's doing, right? In this scene, Kyle's concerned because Bose and Dorit are friends. She's going over there for damage control. She's not going over there to check on her after surgery. And Bose
She was
knows
the
that.
last one to go. Did you see all the flowers? Everybody else had been there. Now, obviously, Garcelle goes at the end of the episode. Now, look, I don't want to see Sutton and Bose have a one-on-one scene this season. That ship has sailed. It's going to be painfully awkward. Sutton's going to say something fucking ridiculous and stupid, and it's just going to bury her even more. You just need to just take it for what it is. And look, I think that she just identifies like, all right, you're a friend of Dorit. Dorit fucking hates me right now. Maybe that'll turn around. But I just need to let it lie. Hopefully she realizes that, because I don't need a one-on-one scene with Bose and Sutton at all this season. That's
not her
time
strong
to breathe.
suit. Her
No,
strong
one-on-one
suit is
scenes
not,
with Sutton, unless it's with Garcelle, are not a strong suit of Sutton. So just let
not
it be.
even that. I meant like reading the room and not doing that,
yeah.
because she doesn't like when people don't like her. And then
Yeah.
it turns into what we saw last week, where it's like, don't weaponize me. It's like, what are you doing?
What the fuck are you talking about? Why would you say that? That
What a
is not
strange
the
thing to
word to
do.
use. Just
No,
shut up. But I
yeah.
do love that these two scenes, when it comes to Kyle, and you can juxtapose it. We got another juxtaposition. Juxtapose it to Garcelle's at the end. They're weirdly different. This is two one-on-one scenes that haven't happened yet. You're going to Bose. Yeah, I know she just got surgery, but you're groveling, both of you, in different ways. You can still be yourself. And we know immediately what Kyle is there to do. She's there to politic. She's there to start getting into Bose's ear. Unfortunately, Kyle, Bose is a lot smarter than you. And she's a better person. And she's friends with Dorit. Those are things that you are not right now. And maybe you've never been those things. But not right now for sure.
No, not even remotely. And Bose is immediately skeptical of Kyle and her reasoning and her motives and why she's there. And they start talking about the Viper Room. And again, Kyle's on this. It's implying scandalous behavior thing. And it's like, you're doing that. I think everyone else is just saying this is fucking weird. You're the one that's implying scandalous behavior. Again, just from the visual test here. No one thinks that you're banging PK. Okay. You can put that one to bed. I promise you, nobody's thinking that.
Yeah.
They're just wondering why you thought this was appropriate to text him on the slide. But Bose gives her speech about having lots of best friends, which I also thought was almost a move to say to Kyle, like, yeah, you know, I see what you're doing, but like, I got plenty of friends. Like, this isn't going to go the way you think it's going to go. But she says some of those friendships are different. Like, I have this one friend that thinks that we are number ones, BFFs forever. And she will text me nasty things, which is fucking weird also, when she sees me out to lunch with other people. It's like, that seems like a weird friend. Maybe you don't need that person as a friend, but that's not for me to say. And she says to her, maybe that's who you are to Dorit. And she's like, yeah, I probably am. But, you know, close friends, it's a lot more than just being friends. Like,
And I have a lot of them. By the way,
and I have a lot of them. Yeah, just ask.
What is that? A Trumpism? What the hell is that?
Yeah.
By the way, let's talk about close friends. I have a lot of them. I've got way more than everybody else.
I've got a billion friends. Everybody knows it. No, it's more so like,
oh god.
I think that was her competing with Bose for a minute. She was like, "Well, I have friends too. I have lots of friends. Kesha's my friend. Kesha, your friend." That was so strange, but she goes for the real friends share things argument.
Yeah.
And even Bose is like, well, you're claiming Dorit doesn't share things with you. She shared her entire life story with me in the first 10 seconds. So I don't believe that for a minute. And we even get a montage of Dorit sharing things with Kyle. Very intimate things.
Thank God.
PK, yeah, I know, because there's plenty of evidence. And she's like, PK left for London. I'm not sure things are working out. Kyle echoes the sentiment. Things with Mo are a little shaky. It's like, oh, sounds like you guys are sharing some pretty personal shit with your close friend. That's what it looks like to me. Call me nuts. But You can tell that this is not going the way that Kyle wanted it to go. And that's the best part. And that's like the magic of Bose is that she doesn't really do a lot.
Right.
But she's doing a lot. Like she's just planting seeds. She's posing questions and putting things out there and letting Kyle respond to her. But Kyle's responses are the things that are getting Kyle in trouble because she's like, well, maybe manipulative people do that to manipulate other people. And I was like, what? It's like, now you're just going off the fucking rails. This doesn't even make any sense. And the worst thing you could have done is to try to one up her and be like, well, all right, fine. She wants to play this. And she pulls out the picture of Kyle, Mo, and Dorit hugging. Let's get some context here because you didn't explain that to Bose, who probably doesn't know what that picture is from.
Nope.
That was the night that PK returned from London because I probably got in a fight and he didn't want to see his kids, so he just got back from London, asshole. And that's the night that they are all decompressing over the home invasion where Dorit was held at gunpoint. It's everyone is a ball of emotions. I can't imagine what that scene felt like. So it's a group hug. I think that we all did the same thing when we saw Dorit kind of like hold Mo's back and kiss him on the back of the shoulder. We're like, weird. But given the circumstances, let's not dig into this one because there's
Well, it's
probably
also
not more there.
it's very intriguing that now Kyle wants to talk about rumors and stories and all the things that are out there. But when Sutton calls you out for infidelities and there's rumors and stories and all the things out there, you talk about the social media thing that you talked about with Eagle Woman. That's
Yes.
what you talk about. Don't forget Eagle Woman. I just
Shout out
remembered
Eagle
Eagle
Woman.
Woman. Shout out Eagle Woman. We love her.
Who's
But
her
still,
assistant?
Dude, Bluebird.
Fuck. No, damn it.
Blue Raven.
Eagle-
Blue Raven.
Yeah.
Blue
Wow.
Raven.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice job. Well done.
But either
Hell
way,
yeah.
it benefits Kyle now. And this is what happens with Kyle. She uses things that benefit her. But if the same thing comes down the road and it has to do with Kyle, she's going to jump out of the way. No. I can't do anything with that. You can't do this. You can't bring up something and you had that picture on your phone ready to go. So that means that Kyle's driving over to Bose's and she's trying to imagine how this conversation is going to go. If it goes one way and Bose still seems like she's on Dorit's side and she's not really hearing me out because I'm telling the truth here, I'm going to pull out this picture and that's going to change everything. No, Kyle, that makes you look like an asshole.
You're
That's what it
compiling
does.
evidence.
You're bringing up tabloid shit from the night after Dorit's home was broken into when her husband was in London and he got home. And you're all decompressing and you're all good friends because you're all sending memes to each other. You're comforting somebody who just went through a traumatic event. But yeah, I'm going to bring this up and show it in the tabloids because fucking dumbasses on Twitter were like, oh, is there something going on here? No, there's nothing going on there. There never was anything going on there. And the fact that Kyle is bringing that up as evidence is laughable.
Well, it has
are
nothing
sitting there
to do with what she's doing.
No, because nobody's accusing you of trying to hook up with PK. They're accusing you of being a shitty friend.
Yes,
you shouldn't be
that's
talking
it.
to him.
It makes no sense. It was
It's maddening.
such a Hail Mary that was intercepted and ran back for a pick six. Like it wasn't even remotely a good example. Bose doesn't know what's going on. She just sees it as you trying to play defense and trying to do damage control. Bose isn't stupid. Like she recognizes everything that's going on right here. And that's again goes back to what I said. All these women that are like, I need to get in Bo's ear to make sure that people aren't giving me a bad reputation. It's like you're doing it on your own. She's not an idiot. She can sit back and let you do your thing. She's very good at this. She does it to Garcelle later too. She just sets them up and then sits back and then she forms an opinion. But everyone is so quick to be like, I got to get to Bo's before Dorit gets back to her again. The funny thing is, watch Dorit's scenes with her. Who does Dorit talk about? Herself until Kyle got involved. And now that's a conversation. But the original conversations between Bose and Dorit were about what was going on in Dorit's life. And Bose recognizes, shit, this woman's going through a lot. She doesn't have any fucking friends because her best friend hates her and her best friend seems like an asshole. I'm going to give her a shoulder to cry on. And you know what came from that? An actual friendship. So now when shit pops off, she's going to listen to what Dorit has to say about Kyle. And given this interaction with Kyle, she's going to believe what Dorit has to say now because she's like, well, I've seen that side of Kyle that you're talking about. She's trying to manipulate me. Fuck that. What's going on with you two? So it just dug her a much deeper hole with the most outlandish evidence you could have used to try to support your argument. But we get to Sutton, Garcelle, and Kyle once again. And this was sweet that they finally get together to have a pizza party for Erica Jane.
I thought they were going to go to Domino's.
Oh god damn it. That would have at least tied your whole theory together that
I was
the
so
song.
you have no idea how excited I was, and I tried to contain myself too. I wanted to text you, but I saw somebody on Twitter because again, we watch these on Peacock. We don't watch them live, but somebody on Twitter said something about Pizza Party and Domino's, and I got so excited. Just
I
amped up. I was even on the way there when they're in the fucking car on the way there. I was pumped. I was so ready for it. Just tie it all together. Chuck E. Cheese.
I knew it was gonna be. I was excited for Chuck E. Cheese. Then they revealed it. I was
No.
like, "Fuck yeah, Chuck E. Cheese!" I was hoping to have like a Kiki moment with you, like, "Hell yeah, Chuck E. Cheese!"
I mean, I
But you're
love Chuck
stuck
E.
on
Cheese. Do not
Domino's.
get me wrong. Charles Entertainment Cheese. I love Chuck E. Cheese.
You even
Don't get
know
me wrong.
his legal name. That's good. Good for you.
Yeah, we're
Yep.
putting it out there. Put his
Yeah.
government out there.
Yeah. Docs
He
him.
has
Docs
hey,
Chucky.
he doesn't pay taxes. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Fucking that
yeah,
rat.
definitely not. But I always thought that the Chuck E. Cheese pizza was like the closest thing, at least growing up, was the closest thing that you could get to the Goofy movie pizza with that
Yeah, with
cheese.
the big pull. Oh, the
Yeah,
cheese pull that lives rent
yeah.
free in my brain, dude. That cheese pull. The best pizza ever made was a Goofy movie, and
Hmm.
you can't tell me otherwise. That's the most
No,
delicious looking
could
pizza ever.
never.
I agree with that. I think that what Chuck E. Cheese does so well with their pizzas, okay, it's like one of those trash pizzas that when you're in the mood for it and you get it, it hits harder than like a New York slice,
Hmm.
like Elios in the freezer when you're really hammered and you're like,
Yeah,
holy shit, I've
and you
got
burn the roof
Elios.
of your mouth. Yeah,
Fuck yeah, like that's the
I
Chuck
do
E.
that
Cheese vibe.
sober. I don't. I just get hungry.
Just crushing Helios. But yeah, dude, Chuck E. Cheese pizza is awesome. What I was concerned about was that you have four housewives filming in a place for children. I was like, this could go south pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The other thing about Chuck E. Cheese, at least in Florida, is they serve beer, and we would just get smoked on.
Still, I heard a lot of
I think they
stories
took
that
it out.
there were a
I
lot of
think they've
fights and stuff. Didn't somebody fight the mascot? Yeah,
yes,
somebody fought the mascot in
yeah,
Florida, and I
yeah,
think
they
that's when
did.
they stopped. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when I stopped drinking. Um,
Mhm.
there you go. Fuck Chucky. I punched him right in
It's a
his
little
face.
story.
Yeah. You guys want another story? I got one for you. There's one time me and Chucky squared off. No. But yeah, I there's a special place in my heart for Chuck E. Cheese pizza. And the last thing I'll say is their sausage pizza because they got the little tiny sausages, like
Yeah,
the
little
little crump.
nuggets.
Oh my god, it's
Oh
so
yeah,
fucking good.
crumpled sausage on pizza is so much better than anything else.
Right. I'm so hungry right now. God damn
Yeah.
it. I just ate dinner. Whatever.
Shut up, Franzones.
Yeah. There you go. Why are you
Sauce.
naming pizza places? Stop it. Shut up.
Sauce.
You assaulted Charles. I'm not allowed to speak about it. And I'm also not allowed back at Chuck E. Cheese. Don't worry about it. You, but anyway, we sit down for some pizza, and Sutton actually gives Erica her flowers. She's like, "Look, watching you over these past couple of years get back on your feet, it's really inspiring. Good for you. I'm proud of you. All those things,
Bit
which is
forced.
nice to. It's a bit forced, but here's the thing with Sutton: it would do her a lot of favors. And again, we love Sutton, but it would do her a lot of favors to take this approach and just force niceties and go over the top and just
Yeah.
stop there. Just be super duper nice and then
Kumbaya.
that's it.
Sisterhood.
But stop there. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? The problem comes in when she tries to explain what she's saying, and then it takes a left turn, and then she ends up insulting somebody and then yelling. That's the problem. So this was perfect. Over the top, for sure. Who cares? It was nice, and that's fine. But Jesus, Ryan really hates Sutton, apparently.
He
But
does. Yeah. What else is new?
yeah, whatever. I don't have time for you tonight, Ryan. I don't have time for it. But it goes kind of around the table. Like everyone's getting their moment where it's like, it's good for the kids to see this from you, Sutton. You're focused on your business now. That's great. Like good for you. And Kyle, it's good to see that, your kids are going to see you protect yourself. And she's like, well, I don't they said they'd be crushed. They just saw me like curled up in bed and crying. Sutton's like, I did that. And I was like, oof. That's which is fine. If you need a good cry in bed, you take a good cry in bed. But she caught a little stray there unintentionally.
Yep.
But Garcelle points out the lack of boundaries between Garcelle points out the lack of boundaries between Kyle and Mo thus far. They're still working through their separation. When it comes to that stuff, like that's a different thing. Like they're trying to figure out whatever the fuck they're trying to figure out. I'm sure as it goes forward, they'll create more boundaries or they'll get back together. I have I truly don't know where Kyle and Mo are going to end
They're
up.
not going to tell us. Yeah.
No,
They're not
and
giving
like,
us updates.
no, we have no idea except these like phone calls where it's like, look at you all cowboyed up, my little cowgirl. Hey, yeah. I'm like, that's flirty. What's going on with you guys? But was not expecting this at all. And I'm so glad that it happened because Garcelle's talking to Kyle and she's like, you know what? God damn it. She's like, you do what you want to do. You be who you want to be. If you want to be a lesbian, be a lesbian. And I was like,
Fucking
whoa.
incredible.
I was like, fuck yes. She's
Hell
back.
yeah.
That was perfect. And that, when people were getting mad at us for saying we wanted more out of Garcelle, we missed this. And Erica goes to a confessional and confirms this is what Garcelle does best. She will ask the question. She will say what's on everyone's mind that everyone else is afraid to say. And this was the perfect example of that. Everybody's thought this since Morgan Wade came on the scene. We don't give a shit. I'm sure you got to work through some things, figure out what you want to do with your life, which way you're going, but no one cares if you want to be a lesbian. And I'm so glad Garcelle's like, look, we're getting older. Like, who gives a fuck? We're all bosses. We all have money.
Yeah,
Like,
it
live your
was
goddamn
very
life.
empowering. It was incredibly empowering. And look, I don't think that anybody felt like they were in a position last year to say that to Kyle because Kyle was so closed off about everything. Now it seems like, obviously she's going through it with Dorit, but she seems a little more open and she's a little more vulnerable. She's showing up to events like this and not just closing off completely. So, hey, let's have a little empowerment moment. Kyle, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Who cares what people are going to say? I like that Kyle's immediate reaction is like, okay. And then she smiles and like takes a bite of the pizza. It's like, I wasn't expecting that. No one was, but it's awesome. It's such a great line. I think everybody probably had the same reaction. Everybody was crying, laughing, or just saying hell yeah to the TV.
Except this guy right here. I'm going to show it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Ryan thought it was corny. Well, I don't know how to make you happy, Ryan. If you didn't like that moment, I don't know what to tell you, dude. That was gold. That was absolute gold.
God, Ryan.
He's a tough critic, man. But Erica lets everybody know. I talked to Dorit. We had a little chat, try to figure things out. And she wants to know if you guys text as well. Like, are you guys talking or is it only memes? And Kyle, again, says she's just trying to make it seem like it's inappropriate, alluding to sketchy shit. Some, nobody
It is inappropriate.
It is inappropriate, but not for the reasons that you're saying.
Yes.
And she's so stuck on that the only time I'm questioning it is when Kyle's talking. I'm like, well, are you guys sending nudes? Like, what's with the secrecy with this whole thing? That's the biggest red flag. And she's like, I'm an adult. I'm not going to show my phone. That's a fucking joke. What's a fucking joke if you're an adult is not recognizing why this is bad, why this is inappropriate. And also, if you can solve this whole thing by just showing the texts, then we don't have an issue. But she quickly reveals why she can't show the text because she's like, I can't believe this is the one she picked. Why would she not scroll up to a meme and be like, look, this is all we do?
Because she screenshotted it.
Why would she screenshot this one?
I don't know. It's the dumbest move of all time. It was so fucking, it opened so many goddamn doors. She took a screenshot of it thinking, this is going to exonerate me. You want to see what I'm saying? I'm being supportive to my friend. No, that is exactly what you're being accused of. You're being supportive to your friend's ex, your friend's separated husband. It's completely inappropriate. Take a screenshot of the memes. Sure, whatever. But not a screenshot of that. Talking about how you're not going to say anything that's been disclosed. You're not going to talk to anybody. And I know what you mean. I understand that you're talking about if the media comes a knocking and they want to get some words out of Kyle Richards about what's going on over there, you're going to keep your mouth shut. Fine, whatever. But that's probably not all that you mean. It's not
because it said never repeated anything you shared with me and never would, which means you guys are discussing things about Dorit and their marriage. You're trying to exonerate yourself, and you just gave them the biggest piece of evidence. That's probably the worst text in the whole thread that you could have picked. It was so...
Well, maybe it's not, though. That's the other thing. That's the other flip side of this. Yeah. Maybe there's worse shit up there. Maybe it is them actually commiserating with each other about their separations. We thought that maybe it would bring Dorit and Kyle closer together. Now, obviously, we've seen clips of the season before this, so we knew that they were going to be at odds. But we thought that maybe, yeah, you guys could bond over this. You guys can get through it together. You can talk and lean on each other's shoulders and go through it. Instead, you're doing it with PK. You're not talking to Dorit. You iced her out completely after the reunion, but you're talking to PK about his separation and talking to him about how to get through it. Is there worse shit up there? If this is what you chose to screenshot, is it memes, memes, memes? I cried for hours today. Don't worry, PK. I cried too. And then they send pictures of each other crying, and then they send like emojis of each other hugging. Like, what is going on up there?
I don't know. This was so much more damning than even what I thought I was going to see on the text. I was like, oh
Yeah.
shit. And the other part is everybody at the table is already on the fence of whether or not they're cool, right? They all agree that this is a step too far, that you shouldn't be texting her husband, that it's inappropriate. The last thread of hope that they have is that you are just sending memes. Like, okay, at least it is just memes.
Maybe the meme is the a cat hanging from a clothesline saying, "Hang in there, buddy."
Hang in there, pal. It's just crazy. I was like, that's the one you choose? What the hell's the matter with you? But Bose and Garcelle finish this episode out. And again, you get somebody going to Bose to make sure that there's not a negative opinion being given to her from somebody else. Because
On
as we
this, the
know,
day of her daughter's wedding.
on this, the day might you come to my
She had
house on
such
this, the
Godfather
day.
energy.
Yeah,
Incredible Godfather energy this whole time. Is great.
it was, yeah, the way that she's sitting on the couch in the back when they shot, like flash it back there.
Oh yeah.
Like she was just sitting and waiting, like, yeah, come on in, take a seat. Come talk to Bose. I'm gonna sit and say nothing, and you're going to do the work for me. And I don't understand this move from anybody ever. If I know that you're friends with somebody, right? If I am well aware that you are friends with a person, I'm not going to walk up to you and immediately insult that person if I'm trying to have a good conversation with you.
You would think.
You would think, because the first thing she does after asking how surgery went, how you're feeling, is go, Dorit is an embryo up your uterus. Why? Because
Just
they're
no
friends.
wherewithal. Yeah, just no wherewithal. Again, this just goes to show you. I think that they obviously feel some type of way about Dorit. All of these people that are going over to talk to Bose, and they don't understand their friendship. They just cannot wrap their heads around it. They're just assuming that Dorit is going to Bose because she showed her some niceties, and now she's just talking her ear off. And maybe if I go over there as Garcelle, I can sit down and chat with her, and I can find out how she actually feels. It was a swing and a miss, just an unbelievable swing and a miss. But this is the difference. And I talked about this earlier with the Kyle scene where Kyle had the one-on-one with Bose. It just had a completely different feel where, yes, Dorit or Garcelle is going over there to talk to Bose. And yeah, she's going to make some comments about Dorit because she doesn't like Dorit, but she's going to stick to her guns. She doesn't care if people know that she doesn't like Dorit. She's just going to say it out there, and then she can still have a full conversation. And she can actually have a conversation with Bose, whereas Kyle was just blasting her. It was completely one-sided. Bose was giving one-word answers and just reactionary shots, whatever she was doing. She was not on board with any of that. This can be a much better conversation because Bose does want to know the tea. At the end of the day, she wants to know what's going on, and Garcelle can deliver that. Now, the difference is, where is Bose going to stand at the end of this conversation? Because it seems like she just throws it right back, but it just had a completely different feel, and I appreciated it because we're getting more.
No, I agree with that too. And I think that Garcelle, because again, Garcelle's very smart. And I think that she realized after she made that statement, she was like, fuck, I missed on that one, because she tries to reel it in. She's like, look, I just feel like with Dorit, it's like we take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. Okay, fine. Why do you think that is? What's your reasons? This is why Bose is great. She's like, okay, evidence now. You made a statement, support it, go. And she's like, well, she talks a lot. And I'm like, eesh, that's not a good reason to hate somebody or come in here and try to break up a friendship because she talks a lot. You might have to do a little bit better than that. And that's when Bose does what I was thinking, what I talked about earlier, where she's like, you know, she's going through a lot of shit. And I'm like, thank you. Like, I feel like nobody's giving any merit to the fact that Dorit's going through a hell of a lot. They have all the sympathy in the world for Kyle. Everyone still wants to be Kyle Richards' friends. Dorit's out on an island with Erica and Bose now. She needs fucking friends, man. That's all this whole thing's about. She needs friends, and somebody she thought was a friend, instead of checking in with her, is checking in with her husband. That's it. It's so goddamn simple. It doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to realize what's going on. But she talks about Dorit and Kyle's journey, and I think she found her way back into good graces at the end of this conversation. At least I do believe that there's a friendship here somewhere. I don't think she buried herself nearly as bad as Kyle did, because she gives her more finally. She's like, okay, so here's what you don't know. They were friends. They were thick as thieves, that she says. And then you get the text. What's the oh, I'm such a fucking idiot. Like,
Yeah,
the text.
doofus. The only text that we're talking about.
Jesus. Here we go. But they get to the issue of the text. And Bose is shocked to hear this is what the text said. But that's all the confirmation that she needs. So again, Bose has done not a whole lot as far as pushing the narrative. All she's done is ask questions, and then listen and let people talk themselves into a hole or reveal the whole story, because now she knows Kyle came into my house and lied to my face. I don't think she's going to take that well. I think that that's going to be a big nail in Kyle's coffin. She's like, okay, I got that. She lied. You need to tell her. You need to tell Dorit. Who's going to tell her? You're going to tell her. And she's clearly like, what was she? The chief, what officer? Marketing
Officer. Yeah.
Marketing.
Same thing.
Yes, she was a CM something, because the way that she did that, I was like, oh, I would tell her if you told me to tell her. I don't know why, but the way that she goes, you're going to tell her. I was like, she's going to tell her. You're right. I don't know
She's
why,
absolutely going to tell her.
She's definitely going to tell her, because the way that you just said that to her, you're going to tell her. She's going to tell her.
It's like, if you're going to be the one to come over here and show me that text, or rather read it and paraphrase it, which Garcelle did a pretty good job paraphrasing, honestly. There's no better way to put that text. No, you're going to do it. If you're going to sit here and talk to me about it, and you already swung and missed at what our friendship is, and you know where my allegiances lie, and they lie with Dorit right now, I'm not going to tell her. I wasn't there. It's not my business. You can come tell me. That was your decision. But now I know
that's the vibe.
The clock is ticking.
Choice.
Clock is ticking.
Choice.
Yep. And look, if you don't do it in time, we're going to have to push it on her. And that's not going to be good for anybody.
You come into my house asking me for a favor on the day of my daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
Here's how it's going to go. You're going to do it. It was fucking just chef's kiss. Like this was her best episode yet.
She played it so well. Yeah.
The whole thing. She's very good at the gameplay, like in a very subtle way, which makes it even better. And you've watched now 3 housewives go to her to try to change her opinion about them. And all they've done is dig a deeper hole, because she's not going to get swayed. And she knows the minute you walk in for those, she knows why you're there. We all know why you're there, but Bose definitely knows why you're there. And she's playing you. She's playing everybody. And it's so good. The only one she's not playing is Dorit, because Dorit came to her and again talked about herself. Hey, this is what I'm going through. This is my life. I need help. I'm struggling. And she resonated with that. She didn't come in talking shit like the rest of you. Like, imagine that. You know she's friends with Dorit, and the first thing you do is insult Dorit. What? How do you think that's gonna go? Whatever. Good episode. It was a good episode.
Great episode.
I liked it. Yeah.
Very
enjoyable.
solid.
It was solid. But we need to get to some questions now. We got our members ready and waiting. So you guys, 10-second delay, but get those questions in. We will answer as many as you got for us. Ryan says that all I want to say is SLC was fire tonight. I can't wait to watch it. And if you're looking forward to our recap of last week's, it's gone. It's gone.
Gone.
Yeah, the file's gone. And we're both pretty fucking upset about it. It was a great episode. That's a true story. So it's upsetting.
From Zoe, are you a shoes on or shoes off household?
Shoes off, but not like you won't get crucified if you walk through with shoes on.
Yeah,
but
if there's not like
off.
mud outside or something, but yeah, pretty much shoes off. If you're gonna stay for a while, shoes off.
Shoes off.
If you're just kind of like passing by or there's a party, shoes on. It's fine. Cleaning up later.
Agreed. From Carmen Nelson, how many times did we see Kyle say, "I'm not going to pull out my phone," and while literally pulling out her phone? Oh, that's a good point. Every time she said it.
Every time, yeah.
I think the other times were to just gesture. It was prop work. You want to pull this thing out?
Good prop work.
Good park.
Good park.
From Casey Wright, how many seasons before Bose gets center diamond? I mean, if she continues at this rate, but you're running the risk of the jinx that we shall not name.
Yep, we're not talking about it.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about it.
Can't answer your question. Sorry, Casey. It's a jinx.
Ryan says, "What the fuck? Redo it,
No.
dude." We have no
When?
time. We have zero time. We're upset about it. We'll try to tie some into our recap of tonight's episode, but we simply don't have time. We're bummed out that the episode got lost. We're not
Even the
thrilled about
video's
this.
gone.
The video's gone, the audio's gone, it's gone. I downloaded software that's probably like hacking all of my information to unearth and recover deleted files, and I can't delete it now. I can't delete that app that I downloaded, so I'm sure it's stealing my information.
And here we are worried about TikTok.
Yeah. Candy Farta, maybe Garcelle was still wearing her producer hat when talking with Bose. Oh, I don't know. I think that she just,
I
it
think
was
she
a
misjudged.
miscalculation.
Yeah, I think she misjudged what that conversation was going to be and what she was going to bring to it. I think she thought that, you know what, we haven't had one-on-one time. Maybe we can bond a little bit. It's like, you're a little late to the party here, and you came out swinging and missed entirely.
Yeah, that's what I think too. From Rachel Nicholas, if you were to have a pizza party anywhere, where would it be? Oof. Other than Charles Entertainment Cheese's house?
Yeah, but there's got to be like arcade games because that's the best.
Oh, mine, honestly, that just triggered it for me. If it's not Italy, because I I went on my slice journey over there.
Yeah, that's There's
It's
did they have
different. I know
arcade games there? Yeah,
in Italy, I would imagine
yeah,
they have an arcade game somewhere in Italy. Yeah.
yeah.
I cannot
Right.
confirm. I didn't see one, but I would imagine in the entire country of Italy, I almost said state, the 52nd state.
They're behind Greenland. It's 53rd.
Oh yeah, fuck. And Panama. I forgot. We got a lot of states coming in.
So God.
I just got completely derailed. Oh, Dominic's up in Pocono. Have you been there? Have I taken you there?
I don't think so.
It's like right when you're on about to
Oh
turn
yeah,
to the
yeah,
road.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they got the
yeah.
like the
That's
old
a good
school
place.
arcades in the back. Yeah, it's a
Uh-huh.
solid spot, decent pizza.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dominic's up in Blakesley, if anyone
Rocks.
knows that. How about you?
I don't know. A big focus would probably be playing games. I don't know, Dave and Buster's Pizza's trash.
Garbage.
It's actually a place that they put into the Willow Grove Mall that's pretty sick. They've got some pizza in there. Tilted
Oh, really?
something, Tilted Towers or something. It's great.
That's
I told you about it. You got to bring
That's Fortnite.
yeah, but it's also called that. Maybe
Oh,
it's
it
not.
is?
If my brother's in here, he'll just yell at me. But
Okay, good,
Tilted
perfect.
Castle, sure.
Oh wow, Brooke, are you from around here? Santucci's, good call. From JR Real, is it just me or have PK and Kyle hooked up? She's being awfully defensive over text. This episode has me wondering. That's the funniest part. I don't think so.
I don't think
I
so.
truly don't
I think she's
think so.
offended at the aspect that maybe, or at the prospect that maybe they hooked up, and that's why she's so upset about it.
Yeah, but to this point, the fact that this question is even being asked, that's what Kyle's doing. She's causing for speculation because she keeps alluding to it. That's the
Yeah.
problem. Let's see. Abraham Esparza, do you think Erica's storyline will get past her furniture journey? I hope so. But she needs to do something else. Like we're literally like break it down that way. For 2 weeks now, we've been talking about furniture.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know what a storyline for Erica looks like anymore because we've gone through the divorce thing. We went through the earrings. We went through the Vegas residency. I don't know how much more she has to offer. Like getting a new house, but like, I don't know. I just have no
love
idea.
an Erica Jane like love interest. Like getting back in the dating pool would be
That would be
interesting
cool.
to watch.
Yeah, I'd be into that.
You know, because I remember when
Yeah.
Sutton was doing dates, that was a blast to watch. I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Let's see. We'll do 2 more. If we have 2 more to go.
Oh, Beth asked a good one. Do you think Beth Sheehan, do you think that their conversations were about Mo cheating?
Yeah. Oh, PK and Kyle?
PK and Kyle.
Ooh.
They might have some sort of conversation somewhere in there. I think
Here's the
anymore it's probably I think it's literally it's just support of the two of them going through it, which is hilarious. That's
I
what they're
think that,
talking about. I don't
from-
think it's really any more nefarious than that, but
on Kyle's end, you know that there's something in the back of PK's
Yeah,
mind.
PK
It's like,
did
"Oh, just
something."
maybe if I say the right thing, maybe I'll have a chance. I just won't tell Mo about
Oh,
it."
I was thinking maybe it's more about PK's infidelities that Kyle's saying that she won't talk about.
Oh, yeah, I don't know,
Probably.
maybe. Yeah, they're gross. Let's see. We'll do one more if anyone has one. If not, this is a great point, JRB. On behalf of all UGA fans, you're welcome for the defense. We love our Philly Bulldogs. They're great. We love the pipeline from Georgia. Keep it coming. Just send
Get
them
well
here.
soon to Kobe.
Yeah, seriously.
Very soon.
Oh,
like
that was
Sunday.
so. That's just such a big loss, dude. That sucks. Zach Bond. He's gonna do it all.
First team All Pro.
Yeah, damn right. Defensive Player of the Year. He's gonna get hosed. He's got better stats than Kuechly did when he won it. But hey, not gonna go there. If his name was Roquan Smith, or if he was another big name,
if he was another Watt.
Yeah, or if he was a Watt or Fred Warner, he would be getting it. But because no one knows who Zach Bond is, you guys probably don't know who Zach Bond is. He's getting hosed. But all right, that's all we got here for tonight. But to all of our beautiful members, thank you so much for coming out and joining us for this. We will have another one up next week. We'll do a different show next week. But our options tonight were
maybe
Beverly
Salt
Hills
Lake
or
reunion.
Yes,
we'll see. Those are a little chaotic. We'll have to see how the reunion goes.
That's a good point. Yeah, because
that
when
might
we
be really
recap those, they get fucking insane because they don't stay on track with anything. It's writing those
maybe
down.
We'll do maybe we can do a Southern Charm or something like Monday or Tuesday night or something.
I like that. That's a good idea. But all right. Well, to all of our awesome members, thank you for coming out. We will see you next week. And this episode, if you want to re-listen to it, I guess you can get it tomorrow. It'll be up. But go Birds first and foremost. Beth, great call. Go Birds. Big one this week. Fuck the Rams. Go Birds. Bros are out of here. That's our show. Bros got to go.
There you go.
Hey-o.